Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be doing my tips for round 23 as well as tipping for going through and looking at my tips for round 22. So let's just jump into the video. So in round 22, the first tip I made was Sydney against Collingwood, and I said Sydney by 18. I was 15 points off there as they ended up winning by, 3 points in the end. So yeah, 15 points off there with an as I had tipped, as I said, by 18 points. Then we just get into the realm of everything going against me, and I mean, it could have easily been a massive fail for the first until Sunday, with just all of these tips just going against me. But yeah, I tipped Brisbane by 24 points, and it looked really good. I thought, we might need GWS to have a little bit of a better second quarter at quarter time, as it was 31-1. And then Brisbane decided, you know what, we won't bother playing the last three quarters, and GWS stormed home to win by 18 points. So in the end, I was, 42 points off there. So yeah, massively wrong game there. North against West Coast, I predicted North by 17, and they lost. They got their almost pants pulled down in the end. West Coast came from the clouds and ended up winning it with like 20 seconds to go, and ended up winning by 5 points. So I was 22 points off there. Fremantle against Geelong, I was, I predicted Freo by 21. I thought that they needed the win to keep their finals hopes, the top four hopes alive. Top four's cooked for them now on 50 points, and just looking here, they're 6 points off top four with 2 games to play. And I suspect we will see Geelong and GWS and Port all at least win one game, if not as well Brisbane winning one out of their last 2. All they need is 3 out of those 4 teams to win 1 out of their last 2, and they will be Freo can't catch them. So there's that. I had Freo by 21. They ended up losing by 11, so 32 points off there. Melbourne against Port, I tipped Port by 23. And they ended up winning by 2, so I was 21 points off there, but at least I got the tip right. Then we go to Essendon against Gold Coast. I thought you all said you shouldn't tip the team playing away from home that has gone 0-11 or 0-10 away from home. I tipped the obvious selection and got it wrong. I tipped Essendon, and they lost by a singular point after the siren to a back Andrew goal. And I tipped Essendon by 21, and yeah, they lost. That was just a horrific Saturday there. So yeah, let's just put that in the past there. Then we move on to Sunday, and Carlton against Hawthorn. And we go again in terms of terrible selections. Carlton, their season's fallen flat. Absolutely flat in the last 3 weeks. They've lost to, if I just bring it up here quickly, they've lost to Port Adelaide by 14, they've lost to Collingwood by 3, and now they've lost to Hawthorn. They would honestly almost lose to themselves. That's how bad they've been playing. They've lost to Hawthorn by 74 points, and I predicted them to win by 17, so I was 91 points off there. Absolutely horrific. Richmond against St Kilda, I predicted St Kilda to win by 29, and they ended up winning by 48, so I was only 19 points off there. And then the last game of the round, Adelaide against the Bulldogs, I predicted the Bulldogs to win by 27. They ended up losing by 39, so 66 points off there, so a pretty horrific game there, and a pretty horrific round in general. So let's go to round 23 and try and get these tips right. So the first game we start off with is Essendon and Sydney at Marvel Stadium. I think Essendon, they can't really give Dyson Heppell a send-off game because they are fighting for their finals life. Even though you've got Hawthorn and Western Bulldogs. Who do Western Bulldogs play? Western Bulldogs play North, and I believe, who do they also play in the last game of the season? They play GWS, so you could sneak over the top of them, but realistically for Essendon to make finals, they need to win both games. And you can't really give Dyson Heppell a send-off if your last game's up at the Gabba against Brisbane. You can't really give him a Victorian send-off even. So they couldn't really do that. Do I think that Sydney, with the likes of Chad Warner being out, is going to be massively affected? I think it will be a little bit of an impact, but I don't think it'll be too much. I think it'll be a net positive though that they have the 3 defenders back, because that unison there was absolutely huge. And so yeah, I'm gonna go Sydney in this game, and I'm gonna go Sydney by I think 19 points, because yes, we have really close games against Essendon in the past, but I think that hoodoo is starting to break. We saw them beat them by 30 points. I'm pretty sure they've also beaten them in the last little bit against you can see last 5 head-to-heads, they won by 2 points in round 20 in 2023. So, I mean, it still is close. But, yeah, they've won the last 2 matchups, have Sydney. So, hopefully they can make it 3 matchup wins in a row. You've got Gold Coast against Melbourne. Melbourne looks shot to pieces. At least their midfield does. If I just quickly go to the AFL lineups, I just want to check the... let me type properly. There we go. I just want to see the Melbourne midfield, because the Melbourne midfield was absolutely terrific. They've got Sparrow, Rivers and Viney in there with Max Gawn rucking, and probably Tholstrop as their 4th midfielder. That is a horrific midfield. So, yeah, I'm going to go Gold Coast at home to get a victory here. They're not going to make finals at Gold Coast, but they're at least going to send themselves off with, losing 1 game at home or something like that and winning 1 game away from home. So evening up the ledger. I'm going to predict Gold Coast to win by 15 points there. Then you got GWS against Fremantle, and I'm going to predict a... what do we think here? GWS Fremantle. This one's a tough game to predict, so I'm going to... part of me says just... GWS going to win. They're going to lock up their top 4 spots. So I'm going to go with GWS at home against Fremantle. Fremantle are going to leave it till the last game of the season to probably sneak back into the 8. So I'm going to go GWS to win by... and that's actually... no, Essendon I don't think will make the 8 now thinking about that, because I also have them losing to Sydney as well. So I'm going to go GWS to win by 24 points there against Fremantle. Then we have Collingwood against Brisbane. I'm going to predict Brisbane to win against Collingwood to end their season. Well, their season's already ended, but to officially end it without to end it mathematically speaking. I just think Brisbane are on a roll, and they had a slight little bump in the road, but you always need a slight little bump, I feel like. I don't think you can go into finals winning, Geelong did it in 2022, but I don't think many teams can do it where they win like 15 or something straight in the end, and I think Brisbane would be getting up towards that marker if they had one. So would be the Western Bulldogs. So I think losing a couple games at this point and going in on like a 2 or 3 game run isn't the worst. So I'm going to predict Brisbane to beat Collingwood by 34 points. I think they'll smack back into the race there. So and they'll come back from that GWS shocker after quarter time. Geelong against St Kilda, I'm going to predict Geelong in this game. I don't think St Kilda really have much of a shot, to be honest with you. They've been playing decent enough footy. They did beat Richmond though, which isn't that much, but they did get pumped by Brisbane. They beat Essendon, but Essendon aren't that good anymore. And they beat West Coast, but they lost to Adelaide. So they're sort of beating the teams you would expect to beat them, but getting pumped by the teams that you would expect to pump them. So I expect Geelong to smash them, and I'm going to go Geelong by 36 points there against the likes of St Kilda. Then we get to Port versus Adelaide. You can basically chuck all form out the window in this game, because, form doesn't matter in showdowns. So Adelaide are pretty good actually in showdowns, I'm pretty sure. Adelaide have won the last 3 showdowns that have occurred, which pretty much shows that form doesn't matter in these games. And I'm actually going to go for a little bit of an upset here, and I'm going to go for Adelaide, even though it shouldn't really be an upset because they've beaten Port the last 3 times out. I'm going to go Adelaide by, I think, 7 points in this showdown game. So yeah, I just think that they have a really good record against Port, and as we've seen, very much so in the Western Derbies, as well as the quote-unquote Battle of the Bridges, that it doesn't really matter about where they are on the ladder. Usually they split one one home, one away, etc. in those games. But I think Adelaide have the form over Port Adelaide in their matchup, so I'm going to go there. Then we go to the Sunday games, and I just think Western Bulldogs win this one against North Melbourne pretty comfortably. I'm going to go Western Bulldogs here by, I think, 49 points. I think Harry Sheezel's a massive out for North Melbourne, so I just think that they will really struggle against Western Bulldogs, and I think Western Bulldogs will be out for blood again after losing that game against Adelaide pretty comfortably to end the round. So hopefully I can improve on my 7-21 tipping record against Western Bulldogs. So if they do lose, I'm sorry. Hawthorn against Richmond. I think Hawthorn win this game. I think Richmond is absolutely battered. And they just need the off-season, to be honest with you, Richmond. I really like what they're going to do in the off-season. I suspect they're going to end up with maybe 6 top-end guys, 6 or 7 top 30 guys, which will be crazy. But I just think that Hawthorn are too powerful at the moment. And I really like Hawthorn going forward. So I'm going to go Hawthorn by, I think, 37 points here. Which, against Richmond, they could easily smack them by even more. But I'm going to go a little bit light there. Then you got West Coast Eagles against Carlton. I'm actually going to tip the slight upset here and go West Coast. I just think that, that Carlton's forward line is absolutely shambolic. I think Mitch McGovern is going to have a legitimate, Jeremy McGovern's going to have a legitimate field day, to the point that they might have to put the McGoverns on each other just to give that forward line some semblance of an actual forward line with a key position player. So I'm going to go West Coast by 21 points there against Carlton to effectively, it could end Carlton's season. I suspect it will end Carlton's season there and then, and they'll be relying on Fremantle to lose their last game if I have the tips right. So let me just quickly look at who do Fremantle have in round 24. Fremantle have Port Adelaide in round 24, and it would be a battle between Carlton beating St Kilda and Port. That would be crazy. Fremantle would know basically that they have to win on the final game of the season if Carlton can beat St Kilda. That would be kind of crazy, yes, because percentage doesn't matter. So those are the tips there. If you did enjoy the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload in the future, and I'll see you guys on the game recaps on Sunday. You may see a AFLW fantasy team update on the Saturday, as I've gone through and done some minor changes, I think, or there might even be major changes at this point as I'm sort of flicking between different ideas, etc., which are mostly centered around the double game weeks. But anyway, you may see an update on Saturday. I'll see you guys in those videos.